ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما آمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has yet again honored us today, has blessed us today on this beautiful, amazing day of Friday, the best day of the entire week. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us and honored us and invited us to the best places on this earth, which is the masajid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are now currently sitting here, being surrounded by angels, stacking up to the heavens, doing the greatest act you can possibly do in your life. And that is the act of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of prioritizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We live in a society of being busy, of running around, of chasing things, of being overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed with work, we're overwhelmed with family, we're overwhelmed with our day-to-day. And what ends up happening is in this constant running, we end up forgetting what's important. We end up misprioritizing our lives. And if you look at the people who are at their deathbed and you ask them, one of the greatest regrets that they have is the time and focus they didn't spend with their family. There's three main relationships that are the most important relationships. Outside of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's your parents, it's your spouse, and it's your kids. Today's khutbah, we're going to be talking about two focuses. Your parents and your kids. The second thing we have to talk about is there's so much going on in the world. There's so many great big things. There's issues and problems with the economy. There's issues and problems with states. There's issues and problems with countries and wars. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give shifa and success and victory to the brothers and sisters in Palestine and all over the world. All those that are suffering from corruption and injustice, may Allah give them ease. May Allah accept their sacrifices and give them the highest level of Jannah. We end up watching the news, we end up thinking about these big, big things. But in reality, what we should be doing is focusing on what's in our power. What can we control? What can we do right now after the salah? And what is that? That is your relationship with your parents and with your kids, with your spouse. Focus on that. Focus on what you can make a difference on. And what ends up happening is most of us, may Allah protect us, our time, our mental energy, we only have a few amounts of mental energy gets focused on that. Rasulullah ﷺ tells us a beautiful hadith we all know. That when your moment of death arrives, when you see the angel of death, your book of deeds is done. It's closed. You can't squeeze in a single subhanallah. You can't say astaghfirullah. You can't quickly donate some money. It's done. Whatever you could have accomplished in your life, it's over. It's your book of deeds that's being sent, except for three things. There's three exceptions to that. One of the exceptions we all know is a sadaqah jariyah. It's a beneficial charity. The second thing is beneficial knowledge that benefits people after you're gone. And the third is a child that makes dua for you, a righteous child. And we sometimes focus on just the child making dua. When scholars tell us that this hadith, all of it, can be found in your children. Who else is going to make continuous charity after you're gone other than your children? Who else is going to act on and teach others the beneficial knowledge other than your children? Who else will make dua for you after you're gone other than your children? And so in today's action items and focus is, we work on doing that for our parents. What is it that our parents taught us? How can I really live it and teach other people? What are certain things and charities I can do on behalf of my parents? And what are we making dua every single day after every single salah for our parents? Because realize every dua makes a difference. Every dua impacts qadr. Every dua either raises their ranks, either forgives them of their sins, protects them from calamity, or rewards them with something in the hereafter. And so when we do that for our parents, it opens the door for an example for our kids. Are we actively making a game plan for teaching our kids? Are we taking them out and showing them our service? We are going out and helping other people, doing sadaqah jariyah. And so if they watch us growing up doing it, not just telling them to do it, but seeing us do it, where after we are gone, it is a principle and pillar in their lives. Being a parent is not easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran highlights the struggle and the pain of a mother who's giving birth. Even the pain, hamalat ummuhu, the labor pains are recognized in the Quran. Allah sees and understands every struggle. Every single tantrum a child gives to you, every single act of rebellion, every harsh word, every annoyance, every minute of sleep that you lose, every dollar that you spend, everything that you sacrifice, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acknowledges it. There's one hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha where a poor woman came with two of her daughters. A poor mother came with her two daughters, and Aisha radiallahu anha gave them 3 dates, one each. One to the two daughters each, and one to the mother. When the mother was about to eat the date, their daughters started asking for it. They were still hungry. She took that date, cut it in half, and gave each half to their daughter. She gave half a date to each of her two daughters. And she ended up going hungry when her daughters ate. She was moved by this. Aisha radiallahu anha was moved by this. And she told Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And look at the response and the powerful words that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said. حَقَّتْ لَهَا الْجَنَّةِ بِهَذِهِ التَّمْرَةِ. Jannah became her right. Just like when the kids saw the food, it was their right. Jannah became her right because of that one date. How many sacrifices do we make on a daily basis? How many annoyances do we put up with? How many of our own wishes and wants have we given up for our kids? And how much more have our parents given up for us? Their entire lives, they grew up. For those that immigrated to America, they got an education, they got a career. They built this establishment. Give it all up to come here and start from scratch for us as parents. The sacrifices you make, the sabr and patience you give, and the trust you put on Allah. These things that you lose, the consistency that you show, can be a means for you to enter Jannah. Can be a means for you, a ticket to Jannah. Some of us may not be scholars. We may not become scholars. We may not memorize the Quran. We might live a life of sin. We're struggling with it. We're turning to Allah. We're struggling. Our life wasn't that great. But on the day of judgment, we come and say, Ya Allah, I tried my best. Ya Allah, I was patient. Ya Allah, I did what I could. That one act, that sacrifice, that struggle could be a means for you to enter Jannah. And understanding this, hadith scholars explain that it was not linked to the outcomes. These were children. It didn't say, did the children become righteous? Did the children become scholars? It was simply on focus on the act of the parents sacrificing. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not give specific detailed breakdowns of how to parent. Because every situation is different, every child is different, every time is different. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives case studies, gives stories. Look at the case with Ibrahim alayhi salam and his father. His father was an idol builder. He was the embodiment of shirk. And his son was one of the greatest examples of tawheed for mankind. Ibrahim alayhi salam lived in a corrupt environment. He lived in a bad society, a bad father, bad environment. The outcome led to a prophet. Look at Yaqub alayhi salam, the father of Yusuf alayhi salam. A father, a prophet, with two sets of children. Two sets of children. Yusuf alayhi salam, who at an early age was taken away. At an early age, Yusuf alayhi salam only spent a small portion of his life with his father. But he grew up in a corrupt society. He ended up in jail. And he ended up a prophet. And look at his siblings, his brothers. Were literally living in a household of a prophet. Their father was a prophet. What better situation can you be? And yet they ended up becoming those who schemed, who backbited, who planned for murder. And so good environment, good parents can lead it to bad children. And bad parents and bad environment could lead to good children. What is the key takeaway? It is that we have a responsibility, but we don't control the outcome. We have a responsibility. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has entrusted and decided that our kids will be linked to us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala assigned our parents. We have a responsibility to our parents. We can't control the outcome. We can't control them. But the focus is you focus on your responsibility. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes over and over again that these relationships, our parents and our kids, are trusts. They're an amana. There's a gift. You can't say, these are my children. They're not your children. Any single moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just like He gave them to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take it away. You might have your parents are alive. No guarantee tomorrow. Right now, you have the ability to call them, to visit them maybe. There's going to come a time where if you wanted to, you'd give everything to do it, but you won't be able to. They'll be gone from this life. When it comes to our kids, the importance of making a genuine connection and giving our time. One time a scholar at an event, he had a Q&A session with children. It was early teens. And rather than asking the kids to speak on the mic, he had a private session with no parents around. And he asked them, what are some of your questions? Give me from my talk, what are you thinking? The questions he asked, the children asked, what do we do if I feel alone? What do I do if I feel like my parents don't love me? What do I do if I feel worthless? These questions are a symptom of a lack of connection with their kids. If you spend your entire day telling your kids the conversation between you and your children is don't do that, put that down, eat your food, go to sleep, why didn't you do this? Stop making that noise. In this process, we care, we love our kids, we want to guide them, we want to grow them, we want them to be successful. But in this process of guiding and developing, we end up missing on being able to make that connection with them, being able to understand them, being able to genuinely listen to them without judgment, being their friend. Yes, there's every single age, there's a different need. Younger kids need a little bit more discipline. As they get older, they need more of a friend. But this understanding that this is the most important thing, more important than their grades, more important than their careers, more important than anything else when it comes to this dunya, is that connection that they have with you. That trust and love that they have between you. Some people go on vacation, they say, I had a great time. Kids had a great time, but did you have a connection? Did you genuinely connect with your kids? And so, for the first part of this khutbah, we're talking about this. We live in a busy world, busy society. We're running after work and school and so many things. But one of the most important connections we have is with our parents and with the connection with our kids. The first part of the khutbah was about with our kids, understanding, number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala acknowledges everything that you do for your kids. Our kids are a test. They're going to push your buttons. They're going to make you upset. They're going to do things and say things that really get you to the edge. And that sabr that you show, that patience that you show, that trust in Allah, could be the means you enter in Jannah. We discussed that your job is to try your best. Try your best, whatever is your capability. But the outcome is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will not be held accountable for the outcome. When a child reaches the age of maturity, some scholars say 13, 14. After that is between them and Allah. And many times, when a kid veers off path, eventually they come back. They go through a phase. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide all our children. But the point is, we focus on what we can, we try our best. And the last thing is, we make time for them. There's some studies out now that showed one of the greatest contributing factors to they found a pattern for children that have problems growing up. They had drug issues, abuse issues. They ran away from home. They got married. They had kids outside of wedlock. So many issues. What they found, one common denominator for the kids that didn't have those issues was that they ate dinner together frequently. At a young age, They ate dinner together, and it was so specific that they found a difference between kids who ate dinner 3 times a week with their parents versus the kids who ate dinner once a week with their parents. Dedicated time. That foundation was laid, that connection was there. فَاسْتَغْفِرُوهُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen, wa salatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. The second part of today's khutbah is talking about our parents. Our parents, there's 3 types of dua that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says are accepted. The dua of the madloom, those who are oppressed. Number 2, the dua of the musafir, those that are traveling. And number 3, the dua al-walid ala walidihi, the father on his son. The dua for the parents for their children. Accepted dua, so much so that even a dua against their children. You have to be careful making dua. You have to be careful when you talk against your children. The entire collection of Sahih Bukhari would not be possible without the dua of a mother. As a child, Imam Bukhari was blind, and the mother made dua, "Oh Allah, cure the blindness of my son." And Allah sent the good news to her through a dream of Ibrahim alayhi salam, giving her the bushra of those glad tidings. She woke up and she went to her son, and her son could see. Everything we have from Imam Bukhari, every single time a hadith is narrated, every single time someone benefits in the ummah from that work, it all goes back to the dua of that mother. A man came to Abdullah ibn Abbas and he confessed a major sin. And what did he respond? He asked the sinner, he said, "Ummuka hayy, is your mother alive?" And he said, "No." And some scholars say he asked, "Is your aunt alive?" Eventually he said to them, "Go and seek forgiveness from Allah." The students asked Abdullah ibn Abbas, "Why did you ask if his mother was alive?" He said, "I don't know of a greater act of obedience to Allah than birrul walida." The person honors his mother. I can't think of anything that will expiate the sin more heinous, a sin that major, than honoring his mother. The son of Abdullah ibn Zubair, radiallahu anhu, famous Sahabi, his father passed away. When his father passed away, the people saw him crying. And he made it a point, he said, "I am not crying just because my father passed away. I am crying because my easiest door to Jannah has been shut from me." I'm crying because the easiest door to Jannah has been shut to me. Abdullah ibn Amr, again, he was en route to Makkah. He encountered a Bedouin man. And he asked, "Are you so-and-so?" He mentions the name. And he said, "Yes." Ibn Umar gets down from his donkey, takes off his turban, puts the turban on this man and gives him his donkey. Abdullah bin Dinar, who was with him, said, may Allah forgive you. These people are Bedouin people. Like, you don't have to, they'll be happy with little. You know, if modern day somebody came, a beggar asked for money, you give them $5, $10, they'll be happy. He's saying you don't have to go this much. And what did he respond? Abdullah ibn said that this man's father was a close friend of my father. And I heard the Prophet ﷺ say that one of the greatest acts of kindness is that for a man to maintain the kindness and connection of the loved ones of his father after his death. That the parents are so important. The parents are so significant, just maintaining ties to their friends and their family members are a great act in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We live in a society of being busy. We're running around. We have so much on our plate. But we'll realize that one of the most important, significant things in our life is going to be those things. What is something that your parents have been asking you to do? What's something that they've always wanted? A gift. What's something that they always wanted to travel? Make it a priority. Just do it. Put everything aside and just do it. Give them that thing that they wanted. Take them where they want to go. Spend time. Visit them. Because you will realize, guaranteed, at the end of your life and the hereafter, those were the most precious moments in your life. And the dua that came from them. It's not like you go to your parents and say, make dua for me. It's the dua out of service to them, out of care for them, out of concern for them, out of quality time for them. The du'as that come from the heart can change your life. There's a story of Awais al-Qarni from Yemen. Some history books mention Awais was the only son. His father passed away, so he's taking care of his mother. So he asked permission from his mother to go to Medina from Yemen to see the Prophet ﷺ. So his mother allows it, but she says to him, look, I need you. Therefore, I'll give you 1 or 2 days. Go to Medina, see the Prophet ﷺ. As soon as you see him, come back. It is said that he traveled from Yemen all the way to Medina. It wasn't an easy travel. And when he got there, the Prophet ﷺ was away for expedition. He was away. So now he's stuck between two options. Option number one, he waits 1 or 2 weeks. If he waits, what would happen? He would be raised from the status of tabi'i to sahabi for eternity. He is going to be raised to the status by meeting Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or option two, listen to his mother. What did he choose? He chose to obey his mother. Because being a sahabi is not wajib, it's voluntary. But listening to your parents, your mother is wajib. Away stayed 1 or 2 days. The Prophet ﷺ didn't come, he packed up, he left. He listened to his mother. What eventually ended up happening? Jibreel alayhi salam from the heavens came down to tell the Prophet ﷺ about this man. To inform him about this human being. We only know one thing about him. That he was dutiful in honoring and listening to his mother. And then not only that, the Rasulullah ﷺ he told the Umar ibn Khattab anhu, that a man will come from Yemen. He described him in detail. If you see him, ask him to make dua for you. Who is saying this? The Prophet ﷺ, the greatest of mankind, telling Umar anhu, one of the greatest of the Sahabi, to ask this man to make dua. Why? Because he was obedient to his mother. These relationships, these acts we have, one of the most important things in our lives. And if our parents have passed away, may Allah have mercy on them, you can still benefit them. Make dua for them. Do istighfar. Do dhikr for them. Do umrah and hajj for them. Give charity on their behalf. It is this constant focus every single day. And every single salah, you're making dua for them. You're doing good deeds for them. And inshallah, you do that. Our kids will do that for us. You live their life. Whatever they taught you, teach other people and live it. If you do that, it will be a sadaqah jariyah for you. To constantly do that and make that a focus in our lives. And I'll end with this. This is not narrated. It does not have a chain of narrators. It's a story, but the concept is there. That Musa alayhi salam once asked Allah, who is my companion in paradise? He was told about a particular man. So Musa alayhi salam goes to see this man. This man is not known to the public. He spends a few days with this man. And every day he would see that he would save the best of his food and water. He would collect it and he would go and give it to his mother. Every single day. And then Musa alayhi salam asked about this. And the man said, every single time I serve her, she makes this dua. And keep in mind, this man doesn't know this is Musa alayhi salam he's talking to. She makes this dua, Allahumma ja'al waladi hadha, oh Allah, make this son of mine, Rafiqa Musa fil Jannah, the companion of Musa alayhi salam in Jannah. The dua of a mother, the dua of a father, the service you give, takes you up to the levels of even being a companion in paradise. Barakah in your life changes everything that you have. And so some action items. How do we spend that time with our parents? How do we visit them more? How do we give them those gifts? Say those words. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry. I couldn't be where I am without you. Make dua for them. Do good deeds for them. Make dua for our kids. Every single salah, every dua you make either will impact them in this life, will protect them from a harm in this life, or will be reward for them in the hereafter. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be of those who uphold the responsibility of being a good parent. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be of those who build a genuine connection with our children. I ask Allah to be of those who honor and respect our parents. And I ask Allah to be of those who, when we struggle, we're able to make this the means to enter Jannatul Firdaus. I ask Allah, oh Allah, those who are suffering, please give them shifa. Oh Allah, those who are in trouble or those who are being oppressed, oh Allah, free them from their oppression. Oh Allah, allow us on the Day of Judgment to be of those who can say we tried our best and we said what we needed to say for the sake of good. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقيموا الصلاة